الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قامت الصلاة قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. استقيموا واعتدلوا. Straighten the rows. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. واذكروا الله في أيام معدودات فمن تعجل في يومين فلا إثم عليه ومن تأخر فلا إثم عليه لمن اتقى واتقوا الله واعلموا أنكم إليه تحشرون. ومن الناس من يعجبك قوله في الحياة الدنيا ويشهد الله على ما في قلبه وهو ألد الخصام وإذا تولى سعى في الأرض ليفسد فيها ويهلك الحرث والنسل والله لا يحب الفساد. وإذا قيل له اتق الله أخذته العزة بالإثم فحسبه جهنم ولبئس المهاد. ومن الناس من يشري نفسه ابتغاء مرضات الله والله رؤوف بالعباد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا ادخلوا في السلم كافة ولا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين فإن زللتم من بعد ما جاءتكم البينات فاعلموا أن الله عزيز حكيم هل ينظرون إلا أن يأتيهم الله في ظلل من الغمام والملائكة وقضي الأمر وإلى الله ترجع الأمور الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا شر ما قضيت إنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك وإنه لا يذل من واليت تباركت ربنا وتعاليت وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله لا إله إلا الله وأتوب إليك استغفر الله العظيم الذي لا إله إلا الله وأتوب إليك استغفر الله العظيم لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله اللهم اجعلنا من النار 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 أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم اللهم لا إله إلا لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم وما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون كرسي السماوات والأرض اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام وإليك يعود السلام حينا ربنا بالسلام اللهم الملك وله الحمد في نعمته على كل شيء قدير ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم بسم الله والحمد لله وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه السلام عليكم الحمد لله رب العالمين. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us, Ya Allah, to accept from our prayers, to accept from our du'as, Ya Allah. We ask Ya Allah to bless us and to increase us, Ya Allah. To accept from our families and our communities, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Inshallah, for some sharing for this morning, I wanted to reflect on the idea of marriage. Yesterday, alhamdulillah, I had the opportunity to join in a gathering of celebrating my cousin's wedding. My cousin, she was born in Indonesia, but she grew up in the US. She's married to a Latino brother. He became Muslim last year. He was learning and then took upon being Muslim, alhamdulillah, and then they got married 2-3 weeks ago, and then there was the walima. The Prophet ﷺ talks about the walima, the wedding celebration afterwards. Awlim walaw bisha, that feed the people even if it's just an animal. A shah is a lamb. So the idea is to publicize this to let people know that they're taken. So alhamdulillah, I was there with the family and some people from here, and I was given the opportunity from my uncle, the father of my cousins, to speak about marriage and how that goes around in the community and so forth, and reflect on some verses I want to share with everyone, inshallah ta'ala. We always hear the verses, and they all come from Surah Ar-Rum. Every time we hear the verses, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا right? And one of the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that He created you spouses. So it's by Allah's intention, it's by Allah's will, it's by Allah's signs to create spouses for each of us. Okay. So that we can find وَجَعَلَ لَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً, that we find comfort, that He places compassion and mercy in that. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ, and those signs are those for people that surely have intellect, that truly reflect on those. And then he follows up, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ, that he compares the creation of the heavens and the earth, what we think is very immense, to our own creation. From the night, from the sky, the world, to us. Perhaps our insignificant selves, but we're truly insignificant, we think, but then Allah mentions us, of our differences in textures, and colors, and languages. Bahasa Indonesia, Spanish, English. That is also a sign by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Speaking different languages is also a sign by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that's recognized. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِلْعَالِمِينَ. And those are also signs for people that have sound knowledge, that truly understand. So it's very beautiful that we reflect here is that the ayahs of marriage are coupled, nestled in between the ayahs of the creation of the world and the creation of the differences of each of us. Coming from in different parts of islands in Indonesia, in Jawa, and so forth, and parts of the world, whether Miguel, coming from, born here, raised here, but Honduras, yes, and then much is from Guatemala. Oh, okay. Myself, born raised here in the US, my parents coming from the island in Java. And so you have this, and you see it in Jummah prayers as well. You have the people from Shishan, from Chechnya, you have the Uzbekistan, you have the Uzbeks, the Kyrgyz. You have some people coming from Holland. You haven't met them, make salams with them as well. But their originality is that they're coming from Algeria and from other parts in Turkey as well. So alhamdulillah, you have a mixture of all of that. Those, you have to recognize that these people that we make salams with, the community that we deal with, every person that you sit with is a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think that sometimes we forget that. In the mix, in the hubbub of business and everything else, when you're saying salam alaikum to your fellow brother, your sister, when you're eating, you meet them and so forth, remember that that is a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Especially in that they are a creation of Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala compares that experience with the experience of creating this whole universe. Who am I? You know? Why am I so important? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning myself, mentioning yourselves. So it's very beautiful in that aspect. And so, these things take reflection for us. And also on the part of marriage, where that is also a sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In that, and I'll leave with one final note about the marriage part. Indonesian, you have an acronym, SAMAWA, Sakina, Mawadda, wa Rahma. The idea is that as someone unifies, there's a union of not just flesh and bones, bukan persatuan badan, persatuan ruh. The idea is that there's a union of souls, that we have to look and think back to what we truly are. What we truly are is that we're souls, and how do we know a healthy relationship, a healthy marriage is what makes the soul shine. That's through the way we interact with each other. That's akhlaq. You won't know how people act until they act with you. And that what is inside yourself shows what is outside. What is inside shows what is outside. The energies that you have inside you is shown outside. And so many of the issues with marriage and so forth come from an akhlaqi issue. There's argumentation, there's an issue happening. Studies from Muslim marital experts say about 90% of the issues that happen in marriages is that one does not have good akhlaq with each other. One does not deal properly with one another. I need to get my rights. I need to get this. Versus compromise in a way that is truly loving. Because rahmah, mentioned in the verse here, rahmah, you can say, oh, I have mercy upon you. Your mother has mercy upon you. It doesn't really fit the description. A mother to their child has loving mercy or merciful love. That's more appropriate. Mercy is for someone that, oh, I have pity for you, I'm going to have mercy for you. I see you in this condition, I'm going to have mercy for you. Okay? But the idea of mercy here is that it comes from a wombly love. Okay? Rahmah comes from the word rahim, which comes from the mother's womb. Right? There's a connection, that very intimate connection, a motherly love that you have with each other. Right? When your spouse is doing something wrong, do you take them and judge them straight away, or do you have a good opinion? That perhaps they're having a bad day today. Perhaps something is going on. Right? How is the reaction that we have, the akhlaq that we show with each other, that builds into this marriage? Because the sakina, as many commentators say, that sakina, the idea of tranquility, already comes with the marriage ceremony itself. You're going to be with someone, there's already physical intimacy, there's also intimacy that's there, already embedded. Now the work that needs to be done is the akhlaq. How do we deal with each other? There's going to be passion in the beginning, but to the next 10 years, 20 years, and many of the Baba and the uncles can attest to this. There are marriages that lasted for 20 years, 30 years. How do you still maintain this? Through how you deal with each other. That, oh, I have to have a good opinion with you. So these are some reflections from just the marriage itself. And alhamdulillah, we have communities that are strong through our elders and through seeing role models. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us in finding that for our generations that come down the line. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us, to keep our souls in a very akhlaq high level of that, Ya Rabbil Alameen. We ask you, Ya Allah, to keep us in states of high akhlaq, Ya Allah. We ask you, Ya Allah, to allow us to embody the akhlaq of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And last note is that if you want to know a good marriage, learn about the marriage, the best of marriages between the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his beloved Our Lady Khadija. How the Prophet ﷺ, in his vulnerable state, Lady Khadija was with him. She assured him in his lowest points that the Prophet perhaps doubted himself when receiving Iqra. What is all this? I can't handle this. And then his spouse, Lady Khadija, comes to his aid, his service, and reassures him, that anchoring. Right? Learn from the marriage of the Prophet ﷺ and Lady Khadija, to the point that even being married with the other wives, he still mentions that. He still mentions how he much misses Lady Khadija. That's a love that's everlasting. Right? And there is a wisdom that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned. Have a love like the love of the Prophet ﷺ with Khadija. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so that we can learn from that. For us, for our families and our communities. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. الحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم.
Mulai subuh ini fajar prayer, salat subuh jam 5.45. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.